Hello everyone, this is Deepak Singhal. Welcome you all to the channel of Vidya Guru. Continuing forward the classes of current affairs, the series that we started. So in this series, I'll be taking all the important matters of the December month current affairs. So this is for the December 2022. And I'll be taking all the important points regarding this month of December for the year 2022, all the important topics that can be asked in any of the government examination which you guys are preparing for will be covered by me. But before I take the class forward, it is very much important to know that have you subscribed the channel or yet? Have you subscribed the channel or not? If you haven't subscribed it, then please subscribe the channel and do like the session and share it with your friends who are preparing for like the same examination you guys are preparing for. And before we continue forward the class, it is very much important to know that Vidya Guru is the institution where actually the education matters. It is the only institution where the education matters because we do not, I'm associated with this organization for more than 7 years. And it is very much important for you guys to please support me and like the sessions if you like it, for having these sessions continuously over the channel of Vidya Guru. So without wasting the time, let's continue the session with the very first current affair. It is about the worldwide cost living 2022. The worldwide cost of living 2022 report was released very recently by EIU, which is Economist Intelligence Unit. So before we take and understand what is the worldwide cost of living, it is important for us to know what is this Economist Intelligence Unit is all about. As far as this unit is concerned, my dear, it was founded in the year 1946. In 1946, EIU was founded. Economist Intelligence Unit was founded. And as far as the headquarters is concerned, it is London-based, as it is also written. It is London-based. So the headquarters is in London, United Kingdom. So as far as the EIU is concerned, my dear, it is a research and analysis division of Economist Group, which is providing forecasting and advisory services through the research and analytics, such as monthly country reports, 5-year country economic forecast, country risk service reports, and industry reports, and so on. So all these reports are generally published by EIU. So now very recently, they have come up with the cost of living report 2022. Now the matter of concern is that suppose if your city has stopped this index, which is the cost of living 2022 report, if your city has stopped it, so is it good for you guys or is it bad? Then the question comes in your mind, is it good for us or is it bad for us? My dear, it will be not so much good for us. If your country has stopped the cost of living 2022 report, it means that the cost of living in your country is much higher. So we guys can know the reason behind. It compares the prices of more than 200 goods and services in 172 countries across the globe. The most important thing is that the semi-annual report found sweeping changes in the living expense, sweeping changes in the living expense, especially in the living expense of Russia, as far as this index is concerned. Why? Because we know that in Russia, because of the Russia-Ukraine war crisis, things got changed there. And things got changed drastically. And I think it is because of that, the ranking of city of Moscow also, jumped a lot. For example, the semi-annual report found sweeping changes in the living expense in cities. For example, Moscow and St. Petersburg, Russia's most populous city, they witnessed a drastic change in the rank of any other city in the list. Now you guys will imagine and we'll try to find out the reason behind it. But the most important reason, let me give you, is just because of the inflation, the war-triggered inflation. It is because of the war-triggered inflation. And it is because of this inflation, the cost of living in all these cities increased manifold. And apart from the war-triggered inflation, it is very much important for all of us to know that not only the war-triggered inflation is the only reason, but also the Western sanctions over Russia. For example, very recently, a price cap-like thing has been imposed over Russian oil. And there are some news. There are some news regarding that the Russia have bought its own oil tankers to, supply the Russian oil. So now the problem is, are the Indian companies ready to buy the oil from Russia? Because if it happens, then the Western sanctions can be imposed over that particular company of India. So now, the world stats are changing a lot. And I think in this rapidly changing stats, it is very much important for us to know that what will be the stand of India as far as Russia's dwindling economy is concerned. For example, the Moscow ranking jumped from 72nd position in 2021 to 37th position this year. Living expense in many European cities also declined, despite the global energy crisis because of the weakening of currency and economies. Whereas if you will ask me about, sir, what is happening to other European cities? But the living expense in all these European cities are declining. Now you guys will ask me, sir, we have we have seen this everywhere, that the inflation is increasing in UK, inflation is increasing in France, Germany. It is all because of the energy crisis. It is all because now these countries are not being able to get that oil and natural gas from Russia. Because of this, these countries are wandering from place to place in order to get the supply of gas, at least because in winters it becomes very hard for the European continent countries to survive, because they need natural gas to keep their houses warm. So what is the step forward, sir? But it is because of the global energy crisis. Just because of this energy crisis, their currency, the value of their currency is weakening. It is because of this only these countries' living expense is declining. There are some important, for example, Luxembourg, Stockholm, Brussels. These are some European cities which accounted for 5 of the 10 cities that fell the most in the rankings of 2022. Apart from that, Kyiv, which is the capital of Ukraine, is not included in the 2022 list. This is again the very important point. The New York, Singapore, they have tried to take up the top rank because of the high income and a strong US dollar. As many as 22 US cities have moved up in the ranking because of rapid increase in prices. And what I think, guys, is that now the European countries will be knowing the reason behind it. Now the European countries, I think, they will stop running after the policies of America. You know why? America is the only country which makes money by making the two players fight with each other. For example, it is because of America the world accepts that Ukraine and Russia war started. It is because of America crisis in Afghanistan happened. But because of America, China and Taiwan relations are not great. So wherever the America will go now, America will try to create a tense situation, because America knows it very well. If there is no tense situation, then the people will not demand American arms. You will not buy the weapons from America. And America earns a lot by selling the weapons to you. This is what the policy of America is. So now the European Union, every European country, they have come to know this, that if you want to survive, you should stop running after American policies. If you guys have not read it anywhere, then let me tell you this one. We all know the president of France. Yes or no? Yes. The president of France, as far as this man is concerned, many months ago, the president of France, who is Mr. Emmanuel Macron, many months ago, this man tweeted on Twitter that even if the Russia will use nukes matlab, the meaning of nukes is your nuclear bombs. Even if the Russia will use nukes over Ukraine, France is not going to use nukes over Russia. So this was the direct criticism of NATO. We know that France is a member of NATO, and nowadays the NATO members, they are doing some kind of a nuclear drills. Even in those drills, France said that, so we are not going to participate in it. We are not going to use any kind of nuclear weapons over Russia, even if Russian weapons are used over Ukraine. So what kind of world is this? What kind of politics are we watching in European Union for the first time? That will be the matter of interest and concern, my dear, side by side. So we'll be taking a separate session on all these international issues and how they are going to affect India. India as a world leader. continuing the class forward to second current affair. But before I continue and talk about the second current affair, it is very much important for you guys to kindly like the channel, subscribe it, and also share it with your friends who are preparing seriously for the government examination. And if not, if you are my daily listeners, even that is also good. There is no problem in that. And please kindly, keep giving your love and support to me. It gives me some energy to create some, new videos, some enthusiastic sessions for you guys, and also to get some new knowledge from wherever I can get it. So now continuing the second current affair, a report which is titled Turning the Tide on Internal Displacement, a development approach to solution was recently released by United Nations Development Program. So before we go and talk about the report, it is very much important for us to know, so what is UNDP? My dear, UNDP is a United Nations agency which has been tasked with helping countries eliminate poverty and achieve sustainable economic growth and human development. So there are three motives. There are two important motives. First is to eliminate poverty, and the second is to achieve sustainable economic growth and human development. There are three reasons. There are three important objectives of UNDP. So it is the largest United Nations aid agency. It was founded in the year 1965. It is important for us to know. Founded in the year 1965, and the headquarters of UNDP, it is in New York. You know why I don't believe all of these reports? The only reason behind all of these reports is that all such institutions who are coming up with all these kinds of reports now, they are generally dominated by the Western world. I think that is the most important reason that why position of India is always negated in all of these reports. So for the first time in history, more than 100 million people were forcibly displaced in 2022, majority of them within their own countries. This is what the report was all about. Now, you guys, after reading the report, I think not if not much, then 20 to 25% of my listeners must be getting this, that sir, this report is directly pointing out to Ukraine. Of course, beta, it is directly pointing out to Ukraine and Russia crisis. Internally displaced communities are struggling to assess the basic amenities and find decent work or have a stable source of income. And by the end of 2021, conflicts, violence, disasters, climate change, they have forcibly displaced some 59 million people. This is the highest number of displaced people recorded, more than the double the number recorded a decade ago. This is what the report talked about. So the important things apart from this report, so this report is generally about the internally displaced people. And this year they have formed a record of 59 million people displacement, which is even higher than double the number which was recorded a decade ago. My dear, apart from that, it is important for us to know that what are the three objectives of UNDP. Three objectives of UNDP is to eliminate poverty, sustainable economic growth, and after that, the third is human development. So these are the three important motives for which this UNDP was created back in the year 1965. Apart from that, the parent organization. The parent organization, of course, is UNGA, United Nations General Assembly. It works under United Nations General Assembly. Turning the class forward to point number 3. The point number 3 is again a report which has been titled as Global Wage Report 2022 to 23. My dear, the report which has been titled as the Global Wage Report 2022 to 23, the impact of inflation and COVID-19 on wages and purchasing power was recently released by ILO, International Labour Organization. Again, very important organization. My dear, if such organizations are in your papers, then it is very, very important for us to know, sir, what is the major objective of such international organizations when they are founded. So as far as ILO is concerned, my dear, it was founded in the year 1919. The headquarters is in Geneva, and we know that Geneva is in Switzerland. Right. After that, ILO is means the parent organization. It is a United Nations agency. Again, the parent organization is United Nations, is a United Nations agency whose mandate is to advance social and economic justice by setting the international labor standards. So the most important thing about ILO is to set up the international labor standards so that this class should not be a depressed class in most of the countries. This is the reason why it was founded in the year 1919. And when it was founded under League of Nations. So it was founded under League of Nations. I'll be sharing the proper history of League of Nations and what was its role in Second World War. League of Nations. We'll be discussing separately about League of Nations, but it is important for us to know that earlier it used to come under League of Nations, but now under United Nations. So now getting back to the point for which this report was published. According to this report, the global wages declined in 2022 for the first time since 2008 global financial crisis. Means since 2008 global financial crisis, this is happening for the first time that the global wages are declining. Because of the global wages which are declining, the cost of living and the living expense is increasing. Of course, all of these are the side-by-side phenomena. And the most important thing is that it is actually threatening to worsen the inequality and trigger some social unrest. Of course, if the incomes are declining, cost of living is increasing, of course, this will point towards social unrest. Some kind of inequality will be increased in the society. The rich and poor divide. Apart from the rich and poor divide, nowadays, people are also talking about the gender inequality, which is even more severe. Apart from that, the severe inflation crisis and global economic slowdown, it actually caused partly because of the war in Ukraine and global energy crisis are causing a decline in real monthly wages in many countries. This is what the report has to say. My dear, in every report which is dominated by the Western world, I think there will not be a single report which will not condemn Russia for invading Ukraine. These reports will never ever condemn the role of America, that why America intervened when America was knowing this, that Russia was right from the beginning giving warnings that do not do this. This will not be in the great interest of Ukraine. Then why America go ahead with that? That is the most important problem to be discussed, my dear. So monthly wages have declined by 0.9% in real terms in the first half of 2022. And this is the first negative growth of real global wage in the 21st century. Now, after reading this report, the most of the countries are concerned because by reading this report, the leading companies of the world, they will start firing the people or they will start decreasing their wages. Any such steps would be taken, I think. But now the time is like we need to see that which of the company will do it first. For example, if you guys are living, like if you guys are very well aware of the situations which are going on in India, then you must be aware with the recent decision of Amazon. Amazon, even after the Black Friday sale, Amazon earned a lot. And because of the Black Friday sale, because of the earnings of Amazon, we have seen various Black Friday protests going on in various countries of the world. Because all the workers of Amazon were demanding that Amazon should be increasing their salaries. Apart from Amazon, Amazon also decided to shut down its 3 businesses in India. One was some wholesale business. Second one was some business related to food. And the third one was the business related to academy. All of these 3 businesses were shut down, recently announced by Amazon that we are going to shut these 3 businesses in India. But the most important thing is to know, Amazon quoted that we are going through a recession. And I think Amazon used the word recession just to deteriorate the sentiments in the market. But if you will study the in-depth background of Amazon, then my dear, the wholesale business, the food chain business, the academy business, all of these 3 businesses were started by Amazon when the world was going through, when India was going through the lockdown. And Amazon, Jeff Bezos thought that might be the corona would change the lifestyle of the people and the people will start relying much more on the online services. But because after the lockdown lifted up, People started resorting to their old ways. And this is the reason why Amazon is not trying or is not doing well in all of these three fields. I think Amazon should accept this, that we are failed to achieve the success in all these three industries. Whereas the Amazon signature business of retail selling, it is growing. It is growing annually with the rate of 5 to 6%. Their retail business is growing. So what kind of recession is this, Mr. Jeff Bezos? We are not trying to figure it out. You are just trying to, you are just trying to deteriorate the market sentiments. And also because of this, Amazon started firing the people. For example, if you are once upon a time a worker in Amazon and now you have fired because Amazon said that there is a recession. So even if you guys will go to other company, the problem is that will the other company hire you with the same wage that Amazon was giving? No, beta. The company owner will say, my dear, you have been fired, but I will not be able to give you the same package which Amazon used to offer you. So isn't it a kind of, deterioration? So this is what, the major companies are doing right now. However, after Amazon, we have not seen a single company doing this. So just wait and watch, because after Amazon took this step, you have this global wage report 2022 to 23, which is expecting that the global wages are declining because of various reasons, in which the Russia-Ukraine war is one of the reasons as counted first. Getting to the fourth point, my dear, again, before continuing the class, if you like the session, kindly like it, subscribe the channel. See, my dear, it is not just like other channels who just talk about the single issue for 30 minutes. I try to give you as much information as possible. And as I told you in my previous videos, we'll again repeat that. Do not consider these videos important only for SSC, CGL and banking awareness. If you guys are preparing for any services, including the UPSC also, these issues are going to help you a lot. And yes, my daily listeners, they will get something extra out of it. So if you start, and yes, I'm so sorry for sharing my views on all of these news. Might be my analysis is not so great as that of yours. So if you are having some other analysis with you guys, you are most welcomed in the comment section. Please go ahead. Plus, please do not fight over there. So the fourth current affair is about the global report on health equity for persons with disabilities was released very recently on 2nd December by WHO. Again, the organization WHO has come. Though we have talked about WHO in our previous videos, but we'll again talk about WHO. My dear, the World Health Organization was founded in the year 1948. Apart from that, the headquarters of WHO, it is in Geneva, Switzerland. Geneva is having headquarters of various Western-dominated agencies. Geneva, Switzerland. Apart from the aim of it is, the parent organization again is United Nations. So it is responsible for what? It is responsible for international public health. So this organization is responsible for international public health. This is what this organization is responsible for. So these are some of the important details about WHO that you need to bear in mind. Now continue the class forward. So this was released on the day of International Day of Persons with Disabilities. And the persons with disabilities are the higher risk of premature death and illness when compared with others in the society. This is what the crux of the report was. And now turning to some of the internal details which were mentioned here. According to WHO, due to systematic and persistent health inequalities, they are at higher risk of dying up to 20 years. I said up to 20 years earlier than the people without any disabilities. They are at double the risk of developing chronic conditions like asthma, depression, diabetes, obesity, oral diseases, and stroke. This is what WHO has pointed this report. So what is this report all about? Do we need to think upon it? Is it the matter of much more discussion or not? That is what now the ball is open. The ball is in your court. And the countries, they have started talking about improving the health standards for persons who are suffering with any kind of disabilities. So it is important for us to know, it is important for the countries to take the decision that even the peoples with disabilities are also the citizens of the country. Just like the normal citizens, you also need to think upon a policy framework for them, which will not only cater the needs of all these people who are suffering from disabilities, but will also develop this class as a whole. I think like in various hospitals of Delhi NCR, we have a separate department. We have a separate even infrastructural development for the persons who are facing any kind of disabilities. Even in various government structures, you have a separate infrastructure for them. But still, the country as a whole is lacking behind it, is lacking behind in this field especially. So we need to take this issue much more seriously. When the WHO is talking about it, it means that it is having something, I think some legal backing. It is actually talking some sense. So now it depends on us whether we are going for it or not. Apart from that, I would also like to tell you about, it is the same organization which many weeks ago talked about disease X. It talked about disease X. If you guys have not seen it anywhere, then let me tell you, the good thing is that this disease is not going to come today. But the bad thing is that, my dear, disease X is that disease. For example, in maths, we generally say, na, ki let the value of this be X. And then you try then you try to find out the value of X. This is what the disease X is. Very recently, WHO held a meeting of various scientists across the world, in which the world scientists, they started talking about that what might be the next disease, which might hold the status of being called as, the status of being called as the most biggest disease of the century. So it is very much clear now that WHO is not calling coronavirus as a worldwide emergency, because of the fatality rate of corona was between 4 to 6%. The fatality rate was not much. So according to a very recent summit, which was held at WHO headquarters, in which various scientists of the world were invited, they came out with the blueprints of disease X. And they said that this disease will be something which is having the features of both the virus of corona. For example, the coronavirus stronghold is a spread ratio. And Ebola. As far as Ebola is concerned, Ebola is famous for its fatality. So this is what the disease X is known for. So if this is going to happen, my dear, then it is a great matter of concern. So it is something which is a hybrid version of COVID-19 and Ebola virus. So this is what the scientists are terming out. They are fearing that such a disease will come in the future, and it will wipe out a significant number of population. So are we ready for that? The situation, if such a situation arises in future, are we ready for that? Means if you talk about the country, if the country's available health infrastructure is enough to deal with this problem, or we need to, after getting the knowledge of such a disease, what do you think that all the countries around the world, should they start doing something in order to deal with such a disease in future? I think yes. It is a right time to organize yourself, better align yourself if such a disease comes in future, so that your health infrastructure should not be coming under stress at a time. This is what my last words will be for the session. This is the end of the session, my dear. I think you must have liked it. I try to cover as many news headings as possible with the proper discussion. And my dear, if you haven't liked the session yet, then it is my humble request to kindly like it, share it with your friends. And I assure you one thing, ki yes, this is the only institute where education really matters. We are not so much confident about what the other institutions are doing, but here I'll be properly doing a trend analysis of everything which is coming in future in the month of December. I will also be taking up some interesting videos, if you want, on some of the important topics of world history, Indian polity, economy, depending upon your request and upon your demand. I'll be taking such sessions in the future also. But first of all, it is very much important for you guys, if you are really interested in buying our online or offline courses, the description is there in the description box. You guys can contact the numbers which is mentioned over there and choose a course which is according to your needs. Just one thing, if you are really a serious aspirant, kindly go for it. Don't miss a chance, because the government examinations will not wait for you, my dear. The time has gone. So it is the most important time to take a call, whether you are ready for it or not. So this is Deepak Singhal signing off, my dear. Thank you a lot for listening me. We'll see you in the next session very soon. Till then, take care. Goodbye.